You're welcome back to the show. It's still Good Morning Anambra right here on ABS TV. And this morning we'll be looking at the topic politics in Nigeria, journalism and professionalism. We know that the relationship between journalism and politics has always played a central role in democratic societies. And we have a guest right here in the studio this morning who will help us x-ray the topic under discussion. We have with us this morning Professor Chinyere Stella Okuna. She is the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Paul University, Oka. You're welcome to the show, ma'am.
Thank you.
We also have with us Emeka Odogu. He is a chairman, Nigerian Union of Journalists, Anambra State. Good morning.
I prefer Dr. Odogu Emeka Odogu
sorry.
or Odogu Emeka Odogu PhD.
Okay. Odogu Emeka Odogu PhD. All right. All right. Welcome to the program this morning. Okay, now let's start from the foundation, talking about journalism. We know that it plays an important role in sharing of information and all that, but generally to the populace. Now, let's look at politics. What is the role of journalism in politics? Let's start with you, Prof.
Thank you. I think I've said this so many times that people are beginning to really think it is my maxim. We say politics, particularly democracy. And nowadays, any politics that is not democratic is not acceptable. And we say it all the time. The press, that's journalism, is the oxygen of democracy. You know the way oxygen works. If you remove oxygen from a living thing, what happens? It dies. In the same way, journalism is at the center of democracy. Because no other group of people, no other entity, no other tool, so to say, has the capacity to gather effectively, package professionally, and disseminate effectively also the quantity and quality of information required to make democracy work. Apart from the press, nobody else can do that. So the press is right in the center. If you remove it, politics and democracy will not work. That is the crux of the matter. If you begin to x-ray other things of information, journalism or the press is also the agenda setter. Everybody knows that. And in democracy, in politics, people need to know precisely what to think about, the information to receive, how to react to the information, and what to do. And people also need to know what is important in the policy, in the polity. And it is the press that can tell them through the information function, through the agenda setting function. The press will know what is important, what politicians should be addressing, what people should be thinking about, holding them to accountability, and place those issues on the media agenda. And once they get on the media agenda, they translate into the public agenda. People will begin to think about those things and begin to form public opinion around them. And nowadays, a new, well, not relatively new aspect of agenda setting, a step beyond agenda setting, is what we call framing. Agenda setting will tell you what topics to think about, but framing tells you how and what to think about those topics. Because framing removes every other external thing and simply like a frame, like that picture there now. Anything within that frame becomes really critical. And the press directs people on what to think about through agenda setting and how to think or even what to think about those things. So it's a critical. There are other functions which I'm sure Odogu is going to explain for you.
Okay. Let's continue from that, Odogu. Dr. Odogu.
PhD.
Oh, PhD.
Odogu, PhD.
All right.
And he's my chairman, I hope you know.
Yes, I know.
So, chairman, I bow and tremble.
See, the problem we have is that you can't separate politics from journalism. But this day or later day politicians try to separate journalism from politics. And that's where they're having problem. From time immemorial, the drafters of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and all over, world over, said that journalism is the fourth estate of the realm. What does that mean? That if you can't the executive, the judiciary, the legislature. You can't journalism. Neglect them at your own peril. And my mommy said, framing. If you cast your mind to 2-3 days back, there was a framing in the media. They said obituary by Omasei. What was he trying to do? To frame the minds of the populace wrongly, to deviate the agenda setting, which is Obi, the best candidate to be in the next election, to that he is the worst or Igbo agenda. He tried to frame it, but there is a backlash to that. And he's receiving it in torrents. What am I trying to say? Journalism should not be neglected in this era. It is the foundation, it is taproot of democracy. Any government, even now that there is social media influencers and social media aspect of journalism. Remember, Omasei wrote in the conventional media, but it was lifted from conventional media to the new media. What is happening there now? War all over. Against his write-up, because that was an insidious write-up. It was not supposed to come from him, having come the urge and learned he has spent in journalism. But what was he trying to do? Dancing to his paymasters in order to demarket the Iroko of our time. So journalism should not be played with. Journalism should not be toyed with. People should accord journalists the right of place. Hence, we at NUJ are echoing, training, and retraining in order to make sure that we are informed and never deformed. Because a better journalist who is informed will perform better in the society. But when you're not trained, you can behave anyhow.
All right, Prof. Still talking about the Omasei write-up, the obituary write-up. Now, what kind of example did he set for his mentees? And also speaking ethically. Now, did he actually act in tenets of the profession, journalism profession?
You know, I usually don't want to use very, very strong language when I talk about people, but I think he's a disgrace to journalism. That's the only summary. For a man of his standing, for a man of his background and pedigree, I am disappointed. I feel embarrassed. As a journalism educator for many years, I feel terribly, I don't know, I'm disillusioned that people do not know the basics of journalism. Ethics is at the center of professionalism. How can a man of his standing write the kind of thing he wrote? Like the chairman of NUJ said, he failed completely. He has a national agenda, even a global agenda. Peter Obi is now, and the Nigerian politics at this time, Nigeria is at the brink. And its election, forthcoming election, its politics now is global, it's national, it's beyond ethnic orientation. And this seasoned journalist is trying to frame as an Igbo agenda. He's an Igbophobist, he's an Igbo hater, and is terrible. Peter Obi has come to a point, people are beginning to agree. That's one convergence now. People are beginning to agree that of all those who are vying, nobody has the capacity to really pull Nigeria back from the brink. And that knowledge transcends all ethnicism, it transcends religion, it transcends cultural bias. So Omasei, in trying to frame it as an Igbo agenda, has failed completely. And again, like Dr. Dogu said, that's the beauty of journalism. Convergence. The traditional mass media, he wrote in one of the oldest mass media we know. Apart from the book, the newspaper is the oldest of all the media. Ancient in nature. He wrote in that ancient thing they thought was already dying out. It translated through convergence the entire social media. See us now on television. So the entire media, all the media branches have converged in this thing to show you how woefully the man failed. If you remove ethics, professionalism dies, and the man is already killed his own professionalism. It's an embarrassment to the media.
Okay. Away from that, let's also look at fake news and disinformation on social media, because we are talking about new media right now. So let's look at the effect it will have on political communication as well as democracy?
Let me refer you again to what I said, training and retraining. If journalists are trained and they know and they work their onus, they will never subscribe to fake news. And when a good number of journalists are trained, no matter the efforts of those who are vending fake news, it will be swallowed, it will be dwarfed. But when journalists are not in the know of the right things to do, because you may have graduated 10, 20 years ago, you are not longer in touch with the new developments. But when you go for training and retraining, you will be equipped to better know which one is fake news and which one is not fake news. How do I mean by that? Journalists are not ghosts. They depend on information to work. And when this information are given to them, what do? Because the knowledge they have in monitoring fake news and what is not fake news, they will just put it in the fake news app to find out whether this is real or not. Then if that app is not worth to be used, they now call people that should be in the know to be able to distinguish between fake and the real news. And when this is done, or when these are done, you see that there will be minimal fake news in the society. And how do that go? If you Google something that is rewrite news done by so many media organizations, you'll see that the fake news will not even come up. Because people are trending with what is popular in the media. But when you have now seen that you Google the fake news, is nowhere, it's nothing like that. But the real news is everywhere.
Everywhere.
It swallows the fake news. When they say Odogwu is a thief, and 200 persons say Odogwu is a good man, that Odogwu is a thief cannot be seen anywhere. Because Odogwu is a good man everywhere in the world. You understand? So I think fake news are vended by people who are not professional journalists. And people who are paid under the payroll of some not good politicians. Because anybody who is a good politician will not give money, will not help to propagate fake news. But because when you are afraid, for instance, Omasheyi, what he propagated was fake news. If he was dwelling on the truth in that his write-up, nobody would be discussing him here. But because he vended fake news, because he dwelt on tarnishing of an image that is already a global brand, there was a backlash. He vended fake news. And that was, I was a staff of Nation newspapers. He was my guard, Nation. That was why I said, and because I respect him and I say he was good. Now he's no longer good because he has vended fake news. If it's me that is looking up to him to be greater than him, is now talking about him as a vendor of fake news. He's finished. I can tell him this in his face to face. If I have the capacities to call him and tell him this, I will do that. Or face him one-on-one on a national discourse. He has disappointed millions of Nigerians by vending fake news and inappropriate information. Why should he dwell on a man in the negative, whereas he has points to dwell on? If he has said Obi is this, and that, and truly Obi is that, nobody is talking about, but he's vending complete fake news, branding him as an ethnic jingoist, which he's not. If you know Obi very well, who I've been with in the last 8 years or more, he's a Nigerian, a true Nigerian. And before now, Obi has gone to all the schools around Nigeria, Sokoto, Minna, everywhere, visiting children. Now, he did that 10, 12, 13 years ago, even still doing. Are these not the children who are now 18 years? Are these not the children who are now clamoring for Obi everywhere? What am I trying to say? If you go to the social media, you see vendors of fake news. They are just doing that to attract traffic to their blog or to whatever they are doing, which is not good. But when, as the NUJ chairman of Anambra State, I organized a media summit for bloggers.
Yes.
What did we do there? To tell them the essence of propagating good news for societal development. Because any fake news is a destroyer of society. It either destroys an individual, destroys an organization, destroys a society, or destroys the government.
The government.
But when you report objectively and correctly, it develops. That's what we call developmental journalism.
All right, Prof. You know, of course, we are in the digital era, so we want to look at some of the processes or factors that are actually transformed that relationship between, because earlier we mentioned about the relationship between politics and journalism.
I would like to begin with professionalism and training. You know, sometimes in this era of citizen journalism, where everybody has become a journalist, and for many years, I remember even as a young scholar, the argument then was journalism a profession? Years ago. And the argument was no, it wasn't a profession. Because we were comparing journalism with law, with engineering, with medicine, with the established professions. You know, one reason they said it wasn't a profession, because there was no formal training. Many of the early journalists were teachers who came in from teaching, from trading, from everywhere, and became journalists, in quotes. People said we were not a profession. And that was years ago, and suddenly people began to train. Nowadays, people are beginning to come into journalism again without training, and it's destroying the profession. Professionalism means you are certified to practice that profession. Certification comes from training, formal training. So what I tell people is, even if you're a medical doctor, even if you're a PhD holder in accountancy, just go and get a diploma, a certificate in journalism, and tie your rich background, because journalism is one place somehow anybody can find space. If you're a lawyer, you can come in and become a law reporter, court reporter. Your rich background in law qualifies you eminently. But just go and get a tiny certificate so you can tie that rich background to your new profession. People are taking us for granted. You come in anywhere, you carry a cell phone, you carry and then you call yourself a journalist. You cannot, no matter how knowledgeable you are, and they say he's writing well, has good command of language, has knowledge. No matter how knowledgeable you are, you cannot go and begin to operate on a patient or defend a client in court as a lawyer. So certification matters. I agree with Odogu completely. Training matters. And again, you know one reason why training matters. Training imbues you with professionalism. Because at the center of training, you don't simply give skills. You give skills, you give knowledge, you also give ethical reorientation. A journalist knows when you are trained that truth is at the center of journalism practice. Truth is at the center of professionalism. And if you're well trained, you become ethical, you become truthful. If you don't have truth, that is why fake news and hate speech, they're all condemned by true professional journalists. All these ones campering around, calling themselves citizen journalists, they are destroying the media. And they are worse even on the social media. And one painful thing is that we are still trying to find ways of controlling the social media. It's not easy. Anybody can snap anything and then post online for even no verification. But if you were a trained journalist, you will know what the rules are. And that's again where, like Odogu has also said, I keep praising my academic son and now my professional father in journalism. So, yeah, so people should really go and get trained, no matter who you are, no matter how knowledgeable you are, how skilled in how to provide news. Just go there and let those who know about ethics, about professionalism, train you. And journalism is, politics is so important that fake people should not be there.
Yeah.
People who are driven by an ethnic agenda should not be there. People who are haters. Hate speech is beginning to thrive because people are worried about their stomachs. I'm sure Masaya went there because he was afraid he might lose his job working with the nation. And who owns the nation? We all know who owns the nation.
And maybe journalists hang out.
Maybe if he doesn't please his paymaster, he was afraid they might remove him. And they might remove him. And like Odogu said, we know Peter Obi. Thank God people are beginning to know him. People know him. Like Odogu said also, we worked with him in Anambra State government for 8 consecutive years. So we know him. So all the haters, all the hate speech, all the fake news about him will fail. because people are becoming quite knowledgeable about the man. Even out of government, he has been everywhere. He loves children and young people. He loves their education. He's been supporting education everywhere in Nigeria. I remember even outside Nigeria, when there was what happened in something happened in Haiti. Earthquake. Thank you. Didn't he go there? Didn't you see what he did? Acclaimed globally. And people are coming here, petty-minded people are coming here in Nigeria, trying to pull him down from the global perspective where he's shining already. It won't work. That is lack of professionalism, which must all abide with by becoming trained properly.
All right. Well, of course, we are in the political era right now. So how are we going to make use of data-driven campaigns, to actually propagate a healthy democracy?
If a journalist is not trained, how can he or she know about data? Data is generated through training. The ability to generate data is through training. Because if you're not trained, you can just write by hazy imagination. But if you are trained, if you want to write about healthcare, you know the right places to get the data. If you want to write about crime, you know the right places to get the data. If you want to write anything, there are places you must get data from. For instance, you want to write about fire incidents, and along the line, something happened on fire incidents, you want to write about it. If you're a good journalist with training, you know the right places to call, like the fire service, like this and that, and you get data that will tell you number of fires we have got in Anambra State, this and that, to substantiate what your claims in the report are. Assuming you are doing news feature, depending on what you are doing. Now, you are talking about data. How many of the politicians engaged a true journalist, a true reporter, a true correspondent as aid? They gather together people who don't even know how to spell their name, call them media aids, without even under the supervision of somebody who is endowed with the professionalism to guide them on what to do. They just garbage in and garbage out and just harass people in the social media. Mm-hmm. Is that what we are expecting about data? How will they use the data to work?
All right.
So the hallmark of what we are saying is training, and retraining is very important, even for citizen journalists. We are not ruling them out.
And make use of the training, because a lot of people know what to do, but because they are looking for their pockets, they are doing otherwise.
Yes.
All right.
Politicians.
Yes. Many of them are not there for the good of people. It's when you love your people, you want to serve them, you begin to look for data on their conditions, their problems.
To be able to resolve it.
And that is what P2B is trying to change now. People-oriented journalism. Politics.
Yes. Well, we really don't have time again. We want to say very big thank you for coming on the show this morning. Yes.
I remember the training that Odogo has been emphasizing.
Yes.
We are beginning a diploma program now for journalists who don't have the background in journalism to come after 3 semesters and obtain a professional diploma in journalism.
All right.
And let me even point out before you conclude that humility is the hallmark of any trained journalist or educator. Look at Professor Chinyere Stella Okunna. At her age and attainment in life, she still attends a UJ meeting. Showing that a journalist must be humble in order to serve society.
All right, thank you so much, Professor Chinyere, for joining us this morning, and also Dr. Odogwu. Thank you so much for being here this morning. Well, that's it on the show this morning, but we are leaving you with our street walk. We actually interviewed some people concerning the topic that we discussed today, that is politics in Nigeria, journalism and professionalism. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Chidima Oranwa. See you again tomorrow. Bye.
Journalism, which is the fifth estate of the realm, cannot stand on its own. They still depend on the government. And government will always want you to dance to their whims and caprices by ensuring that you report their own angle. If the government does anything wrong and you report it today, you are already an enemy of the government. That is a problem. Today, most of the media houses are owned by politicians. And whoever that hires the piper dictates the tune. Some journalists and media houses also depend on government for subvention. That is a problem. But despite all these challenges, it is very, very important for media owners, government individuals to allow journalists do their job without any fear of error. The reason is because for them to be very objective in what they do, they must be free from political influence.
Generally, we are political. Every human being is political. But when professionalism comes into it, you try to remove yourself from politics. But that doesn't mean that you won't have interest in politics. You remove yourself from politics and try as much as possible to be neutral. That is neutrality in journalism. It is difficult to be done, but that is what professionalism requires. So when you are writing, remove all manner of biases, including political biases.
You don't have to hide the things from people. Let people know. And I believe the government that just came in will love the truth. Because it's only the truth that can make this government effective in this state. And you are now given the responsibility to tell the truth. So my advice is go ahead and tell the truth. It's the time also for journalists to stand up and start talking about the real issues.
They have to be neutral. They have to do their job regardless who us is what grows. Journalism all over the world are the voice of the people. And it goes with a lot of challenges. Sometimes journalism pays the supreme price in covering the truth. In a government like ours, it is needful for journalism to still stand their ground because they are the given profession. When a society that lost journalism, free journalism, have bring people into what? Bondage. They can do their job without fear and favor. They should continue with their what the ethics of journalism.
In journalism, we have ethics or code of conduct which guides every journalist on how to run the profession, on how to behave in the profession, on how to relate with public affairs and public institutions and people. So as a well-trained mass communicator, once you abide by that ethics or code of conduct, your reporter will be objective. You will not take side. You will not fear people. You will not fear institutions. Whether you are working in a government-owned media house or you are working in a private media house, the rule of canon or the code of conduct should be a guide, the ethics. You have to be objective. You have to balance your story, no matter who is involved. That is the most important thing.